when you come to my court, as you all know, it was more of a relaxed atmosphere, more of a civil atmosphere. Things that I think are important that many times are missing in courtrooms. And I think that the lawyers need to be nicer to each other. It for sure starts with that. Just be nice to each other, because in the end, we're just doing our jobs, and we can advocate, but we shouldn't cross the line.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I've said it many times to our young lawyers at Flood Law that I wish that we could get motion call back in person, just because of how much, I learned by just sitting in courtrooms and seeing how judges ruled on particular issues, and how other lawyers' arguments that worked really well. And I think that's really missing right now from how we're educating the younger lawyers. Um, Judge, do you have anything that you think is missing or that young lawyers need to hear?
Well, I think that's a very, very important. I know that the chief judges are talking about having lawyers come back, not necessarily for motion call, although that is on the table. But I think a lot of courts are having the lawyers come back, and you would know because you're practicing lawyers.
Right.
And I think one of the things that was those things that you never thought about before COVID was you'd go to motion call, you'd have to run around the building, you'd hit a courtroom, you'd sign in, you'd see a lawyer that you have a case on, you'd go out in the hallway, you'd talk to him or her, and it was like that the whole building, and you were taking care of business all over the place. Now they don't have that, and of course the socialization, meeting people in the hallways,
right?
Lawyers introducing other lawyers, those things we took for granted. And the young lawyers of today, many of them have never been to a courtroom. And they're really missing the boat, as they say. So something has to be done. I think there will be some movement. There is some movement to perhaps get motion called back in person, although I don't know the status. Even though I'm a visiting judge now, I am not. I'm not in the in as far as what's happening. But I certainly think it's something worth exploring. And I think that the chief judge of Wayne Circuit for sure is talking about it. And we'll see what happens, but I think it may come back to that, which I think would be really good for the young lawyers.
Absolutely. Sure. I think there's got to be a hybrid of some sort, because you can save a ton of time, obviously, doing it via Zoom and handle, smaller motions on motion call. But when you have an SD motion that's up and you have exhibits and, there's a lot of moving parts, it's so much better to be in person. And, obviously, if you have testimony that's taken on any kind of hearings, those types of things, as opposed to doing that via Zoom is crazy to me. But I can get it, handling the time.
There's a balance there, right? But I agree with you on the bigger motions. You can just read someone's body language and their energy better. And I find that helps me anticipate what the argument's going to be, or you can tell if the judge's demeanor shifts a little bit and you think, oh shoot, I gotta shore up that argument right now before they deny it or whatever. I think you get those cues in person in a way that you don't online.
Absolutely. 1000%. Yeah.
Yep.
I also have like every cell phone of every lawyer I've ever had a motion to compel with because of those motion call days when you had to hope you could meet back at the courtroom at the same time because you were all arguing motions in all of these different courtrooms all over the building. Right. So you'd exchange numbers and say like, well, text me when you're done with yours and I'll meet you back up in Groner's courtroom.
Right.
And so, yeah, I have, I don't know, hundreds of cell phone numbers.
That's great. That's how you make relationships.
Yeah, exactly.